Yo, what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormy B Man, and I am back, welcoming you to another edition of Stormy B Man's Boxing Raps. This is number 33 in the series of boxing raps, and for this evening, the title is The 90% Mental Game is Under Attack in Boxing. I want to say first and foremost, shout out to my brother Drew Titan LLC with that super chat donation. Drew and I were supposed to do a Nerds on Culture this evening, but he's under the weather, and as you can see, he's still participating from a vantage point that he can, and I really appreciate that. And let's all wish our brother a speedy recovery so he can get right back on the microphone, because we enjoy hearing his position and his thoughts on what he has to say. So good well wishes for you, Drew, and get well, man, because we need you out here, huh? And I'm always prepared to do something. It's just that you have to find the time to do things. And I thought that this evening, with things being as they are, we can talk about the sport of boxing and kind of hold some attention towards something that I don't think enough people are paying attention to. The 90% mental game of boxing. We have seen and heard coaches talk about the percentage being anywhere from 80 plus, the sport being mental. And that's for the men who fight. But we're seeing more and more in recent months and over the past couple of years. You might want to even go back until before the so-called pandemic. Things have really come to a bottleneck. And I think that fighters are veering off path and losing discipline because the teachers are failing them, just like in our schools. Our schools, they're seeing teachers fail, where you see teachers are abusing students, having relationships and relations with students. The students aren't as smart as you may remember, a generation prior and going back even further being, they're taking curriculum away. They're taking certain aspects of making you a functioning citizen in society. That's being taken off of the table. The generation of participation trophies being implemented, where students are graduating from kindergarten and graduating from first grade, and all of this graduation, what is that? It's a natural progression that you're supposed to move on to the next level as long as you're completing your assignment. In real life, as in boxing, we are seeing these things be challenged, and we're seeing the finished products, they're suffering as a result. So, when we have large examples of it, it's when it's alarming. But I've noticed it for a long time. And I talk about it all the time, almost to the degree that you guys probably sit up and say, well, here goes Stormy again, saying what he's saying, but it is true, people. It is very true. And so when you see in the sport where you have top class fighters competing, and then you have those that are competing when things don't necessarily turn out in favor or in their favor, then someone might act out or decide to behave a certain kind of way when it's totally uncalled for. But what's worse is when that very individual elects to do those things that people are part of the camp, the entourage, the corner, whatever you want to relate to it, when no one pumps the brakes and say, hey, man, let's take a step back. Let's, let's go cool off, allow yourself to get your thoughts together, and then you can properly express yourself. Where's the discipline? It's missing. It's missing. We're seeing at press conferences. We're seeing it in before fights. We're seeing it at after fights. We're seeing it at weigh-ins. Fighters, have you ever remembered an era where there have been so many fighters who just missed weight? Just missed weight. The weigh in and the guy is 5 pounds over, 3 pounds over, 10 pounds over. Undisciplined enough to enter the ring under the contractual obligations. It's your job. It's your duty. It's your obligation. Who's holding these people accountable? Seriously. That's what this show is about this evening. And we'll talk about that a little bit. From my opinion, my point of view, my perspective, I thought I'd share some light on that. And maybe you can get a better understanding of why things are ironing out the way they are. Let's go to the chat and see who we got out there this evening. We got Big Homie Coop in the building saying salute seafood, backsmack that like button people. Class is in session, so pay attention. Salute to all the family in the chat. Young World in the building saying salute Big Storm. Salute to the chat. Yoda Wise Crush is with us saying salute Sensei. Signature Sounds in the building saying OG Stormy B on the mic. Yes, sir. Antonio MMA saying salute Sensei. Oos. Yeah. TS Boxing, my man Tyrone is out there saying salute. What's good with you, Tyrone? And Curtis Price out there, my man, saying right on 1,000. Amen. That's Curtis. That's his saying. Drew is also in the chat saying salute chat. And T Hunt is out there saying OG Stormy. Salute, sir. Salute to you. And Matt 2377 says great content from newbie fellow boxing junkie. Hey, Matt, I appreciate you and your donation to the channel, man. Welcome to the Stormy B Man family. Are you one of the ones that had to wait the 2 months? Sorry for the long wait, if that be what it is, but there's a reason for that as well. But we welcome you all the same. Tay Tay is out there saying Master Seafood in the house. What's good, Tay Tay? And listen, man, when we talk about the disciplines, you know who sets the precedent for that, right? It's the coaches, the trainers, the mentors, the very same individuals that I find myself talking about all the time. If you do not have that solid rock and foundation in that area, how can you be solid as a disciple, as a student, as a protege? You see? And we have a huge example of that this evening in what we saw this past weekend in the Anthony Joshua rematch against Alexander Usyk, the unified heavyweight champion of the world, as he won a split decision over Joshua in the rematch. The thing about the split decision, please don't look at that as Usyk barely overcoming Joshua in the rematch. There was a judge in that fight that had a scorecard that was highly questionable. Highly questionable. And that judge was Glenn Feldman, who scored that fight 115 to 113 for Anthony Joshua. No. I have it right here. And shout out to my brother L-Dub Boxing, because L-Dub and I, we exchange information, and he kept up with a lot of the questionable scorecards for this weekend's events. And just to look at these scorecards, Glenn Feldman is an American judge, official, okay? And he gave the fight closely to Joshua, 2 points, right? But Joshua didn't win the fight, people. He fought very well. He fought better than he did in the first fight. But he did not best Alexander Usyk. Now, Usyk's own countryman, Victor Fisheko, had it 116 to 112 for Usyk. Did Usyk win by that wide a margin? Maybe not. But he did clearly win the championship rounds. Joshua's last good round was the 8th. And then in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, we saw Alexander Usyk turn it up. Okay? Now, what's interesting about that is, in championship caliber fights, it is the adjustments to an adjustment that a fighter can make that can end up pulling it out for him. Anthony Joshua came out in a different posture, in a different manner of pursuing Usyk. Usyk wasn't as mobile as he was in the first fight, but when he needed the mobility, he got into it. Joshua's idea was to come in and go to the body a little more in this fight, to land more power shots. But in order to land the power shots, Usyk has to be available to receive them. And therein lies the problem. So Joshua didn't work behind the jab. He pursued a lot. He followed Usyk around a lot. Sometimes he slightly cut the ring off. Most times he didn't. But he didn't chase Usyk with a jab. If you notice, in the first fight, Usyk's face was marked up pretty good from Joshua's punches. In this fight, not so much at all. It's a telltale sign. It lets you know what happens when a fighter is prepared to do certain things and to go out and execute his game plan offensively. Now, AJ did a better job of protecting himself. He kept his guard up very well. He blocked punches and things of that nature. He didn't do a lot of countering. He didn't do a lot of, parrying, catch and shoot or anything like that. Basically, Usyk did not play into his game plan. So, making an adjustment to the other fighter's adjustment. In other words, you have to be prepared to do several things, not just one or two. But the fight is over. It's done. The decision is in. I thought it was unanimous for Usyk. Not by a wide margin, but decisive. And it's a shame that the popularity of Anthony Joshua blinds the consensus that someone could possibly defeat him the way that Usyk did. These people gave no credit to Alexander Usyk's success in boxing. The fact that he is a quality fighter in today's era. That doesn't mean he would be able to accomplish what he's doing right today in a bygone era, but that means in today's time and era, he's one of the best around. And they don't want to give him the credit for doing it. I don't know if it's because he's from the Ukraine and he doesn't speak fluent English, but he can communicate. But boxing is universal. When somebody's good, they're good. This is not someone who's had the advantages of a hype train behind him like Vasily Lomachenko. Vasily Lomachenko came in a package gift wrapped where he was anointed without even accomplishing things. Meanwhile, Usyk had been accomplishing behind the scenes and going unnoticed and beating some of the best fighters out there when he was at cruiserweight. And then he moves up to heavyweight where he took on two journeymen, Witherspoon and Chisora, who his victories over those men raised no eyebrows. But when he fought AJ, people kind of questioned, like, he kind of made AJ look foolish that first go around. And he did. But you know something? He did it with skill. Classic footwork, upper body movement, and punching. Usyk was never trying to knock AJ out in either fight, but he let his hands go and he allowed himself to get out there and get ahead by scoring. Hit and not get hit. That's the name of the game. It made all the difference in the world. Salute to the brother Clarence McClain out there. I see you out there. What's good with you, Clarence? Listen. The fact that so many wanted AJ to win, it blinded people to Usyk's natural abilities. You still have to beat the man. And the pressure it made Joshua fold under its weight. It's a shame because Joshua is one of those who received the participation trophy. He's been given a boatload of credit for not doing and consideration for not competing against those that could really test him and put him in a position of saying, yes, he's here, or no, he's there. And when it didn't go his way after the decision Saturday night or Saturday afternoon, our time, his behavior in the ring after that is what the focal point of this show is all about. This man walked around the ring insulting people, threatening people, challenging Usyk as like, why did you beat me? Why did you? What makes you? You're not stronger than me. You're not bigger than me. Seriously, bro? He took the championship belts and threw them out of the ring. Then he walked out of the ring. Then he comes back and he grabs the microphone from Michael Buffer and he starts talking over the microphone. He's speaking, telling his life story. Where was his people? Where was Robert Garcia? Someone should have grabbed him in a headlock and pulled his butt on out of that ring. If he behaved like that in front of the entire world, because that fight was broadcast across the world, right? Imagine how he's behaving in the gym. Yeah. So everybody's telling him, AJ, you can do it. You're the man. You're going to be champ again 3 times. No, you're not. You'll be lucky to smell championship belts going forward, AJ. I had spoke about this well over a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. I said the way that they have stunted this man's growth, the rest of the division is going to catch up to him and pass him by. And guess what? This is already underway. For certain. The guy is not that good. But there are other fighters who have caught up and are better. On the undercard, you had 2 giants, Filip Hrgović and Zhilei Zhang, 2 big heavyweights who were plotters and bangers, and in a fight that saw Hrgović come out with a victory, even though most felt like Zhang pulled that fight out. Both of those guys, I don't think AJ goes the distance with them. I really don't. And he's supposed to be a superior boxer, Olympic gold medalist and everything. But it's just something about these other heavyweights out there. They have something that's a little more threatening for a person of his ilk. And if he came apart mentally against a guy like Alexander Usyk, who is a superior boxer, what is he going to do against guys that he can't outbang? You see? And where's the real coaching at? Robert Garcia was not going to be able to repair or add to and build on what was there in one camp, which is why it was necessary to consider a second or even third fight take 2 fights in between the rematch with Usyk. A couple of soft touches of different types of skill sets that he can work on the things that Robert is trying to teach him. But Hearn, driving everything forward, making certain that he implements what he wants, and he wants to get those belts back. He wants to have control over the division and everything. It's what he wants, but he makes it like it's AJ. No. AJ is uncertain and very much robotic as people describe him, but not robotic as far as a boxer, robotic in his mindset, because whatever they put into his mind, it's like a computer download. He takes that and he just rolls with it. I'm the champ. I'm still the champ. No, you're not. They were calling him the uncrowned champion. Some of those people that love him and support him over there to the degree that they don't even acknowledge the flaws. How is he supposed to get better if you don't help him to understand there are things he needs to work on? Seriously. How is he supposed to get better? There's a lot of things that they haven't really considered, that they haven't put into effect. And he's going to continue to struggle. That young kid, Danny Dubois, has passed AJ. May not even be as good as AJ, but he's passed him. %90 mental. Game is under attack. You have so many of these men who are out here and they do not perform at the highest level because they're not being challenged. The difficult is not being asked of them. And it's across the sport. It's not just in the heavyweight division. Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, Tank Davis even. No one is holding the fighters accountable for being underachievers. I don't think I can recall an era in which so many talented fighters didn't test themselves against others who were either equally talented or it was questionable where you had to see them actually in the ring to decide who was more talented. These men are going entire careers without being challenged. That has a lot to do with the psychological aspect of their approach to the sport. You're afraid to lose? I don't even think it's that anymore. I think they just have a corrupted view of how it's supposed to go down. I was watching a video earlier today where they were showing these guys in California in a grocery store raiding the liquor section, refrigerated alcohol liquor. They were just taking bottles and bottles and throwing them in these bags that they had, and they were doing a snatch and dash. And people were standing around filming them and watching them and everything, saying, oh, you guys are going to get arrested and somebody should get their plate number when they get outside. But nobody was stopping them. The store security person was standing right there watching them. And it looked like something out of a movie. Broad daylight. And they think because they got a mask on their face and a hood on their head that nobody knows who they are or whatever, right? There's cameras everywhere, but they didn't care. They were just in there doing what they wanted to do at that moment. Undisciplined. Our society is such now that, guess what? Someone now just wants to take what you have because if they're capable of getting away with it, they're going to do it. But you know what that's going to lead to? A lot more bullet holes. Yeah. But remember, those individuals in that store doing what they were doing, they have parents. Someone brought them into this world. Someone changed diapers and fed them or whatever, put clothes on their back or whatever. And now this is their gift to society, doing this. They're the same ones that you're at the gas station. Here they come trying to take your car from you. AJ's behavior after the first loss. You remember him talking? There comes a point when you have to stand up. You have to have accountability. You have to say no. You have to be punished. You have to take your punishment. Yeah. But all of this acceptance and just like moderate attentiveness and everything, the mental game is under attack. How many guys over the past several months have professed to have some type of mental, psychological issues going on? I'm not saying it's not true. But a crutch is simply that object that'll help you stand up. It doesn't help you walk. It doesn't walk for you. It just props you up. Training wheels do the same thing. Does a fighter like Anthony Joshua look like he needs a crutch? He doesn't look like he needs that. And everyone around him that surrounds him gives him all of that type of support and everything. But once he begins to open his mouth and speak, then you understand that there's not a lot going on. But is anyone trying to help him get to another level? Mental. He can't get there if you don't set a precedent that there is a place to get to. Salute to successful hustler out there. Clarence McLean in the building. PGH Big Dog. Andrew Charles in the building. Big Texas. Cletus is out there. Jay Gibson. I appreciate all of you guys. Antonio says he broke down in front of the world, Sensei. The world. Yeah. But what did he do before he broke down? He clowned in front of the world. So understand what he did first. He didn't break down first. He clowned first. Which means he knows what he's doing. That's the worst part, because I'll tell you something. You know how I have a no tolerance for trolls, right? They're not welcome under any circumstances. I don't entertain them. I don't go back and forth with them and whatnot. They're just gone, right? I don't do the timing out and all of that. There's a reason for that. Because I like to keep my train moving. If you can't hang on for the ride, you fall off. Oh, well. You see? That's no tolerance. Which real coaches, real mentors, real trainers, they have no tolerance. I don't think AJ has met anyone like that. Which is why someone like he can sit back and call someone like Lennox Lewis a clown. And these so-called hustlers that he grew up idolizing, that he can't even pronounce their names properly. Being that he has nothing really to do with America, but he's talking about American iconic gangsters. So which is it? Have you studied these guys, or have you just read and heard about them or whatever and decided to pair yourself? Don't believe the foolishness, bro. And just like you wanted to be threatening and go after a man in the corridors after the fight that said, hey, keep it professional, and you going after him like you really want to lay hands on him. Where was all that energy to lay hands on Alexander Usyk, where you get paid for it and you could have possibly won belts back, but you didn't? Do you know he also had the gall to say he left it all in the gym instead of in the ring? That's a shot at the people who are working with him. Really? No problem, Clarence, man. I was just waiting on you to write something so I could catch it and put it in there for you, bro. Welcome. Mangus Allen is out there saying, what's up, man? What's up with you? Winston Lee, Boxing and Barbecue. That's my man, Boxing and Barbecue. Where you been, man? Winston Lee says, peace, big bro Stormy. AJ is about to play the mental ill card next. Oh, he started Saturday, man. He started. But Stormy ain't buying that, man. I don't buy, the doo-doo chips, huh? I don't buy doo-doo chips. They stink, huh? Antonio said, Sensei, when he said that, I was like, what the F? He said, did you train for it? Exactly. See, in other words, that's no accountability, bro. He never at one point said Usyk was the better man tonight. Evander Holyfield, when he lost to Riddick Bowe, he said, man, he was the better man tonight. But I'll never forget when Larry Merchant asked him, when he asked Holyfield after the first fight with Bowe in the locker room, he said, Evander, that 10th round was a rough round for you. What was going through your mind when he had you going from pillar to post and everything? And what was actually your thoughts? Evander was like, now I got him where I want him. Now, Holyfield was stumbling around and being battered from pillar to post by Bowe. But for him to say, now I got him where I want him, that's a warrior. Not a worrier like AJ, huh? There were sequences late in the fight where Usyk was laying hands on AJ with combinations. And AJ tried to block a couple of them, but as the third, fourth, and fifth punches were coming in, he was taking them on the chin. And he didn't look very comfortable feeling them. And it was interesting because Usyk was stopping then move away because he wasn't going to allow himself to be there for receipts. Okay? And AJ didn't have the answers. But he didn't bite down and fire back. He was just basically blocking and taking shots and blocking. It's like he wasn't trying to compete. He wanted things to be easy. He wanted Usyk to take a shot to the body and roll over on the canvas. That's not who that man is made of, man. How did you beat me? You're not stronger than me. Because he can't bench press what you bench press, AJ? They've blown you up with God knows what. You didn't look like that when you were in the Olympics. Okay? But that doesn't win the fight. Skills, as they say, pay the bills. And Usyk was paying them all night long. In 2 fights now. You've been bested. And no one has been honest with you. No one has been honest with you. It's a shame. Kenneth Johnson in the building. Salute to you, bro. Antonio says, sad part is when Usyk made the adjustment to catch the body shots, his elbows, he and Robert had no answers after that. Well, he threw some low blows. He tried to lean on him and push him down and all of that stuff. Stuff that Usyk was prepared for that for the first fight. He just didn't do it. So he obviously knew some of that was coming in this fight because he had no other recourse. It's not like AJ could suddenly go to some boxing encyclopedia and pull out some real noteworthy things to do. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. That's the thing. He found out that he just didn't have enough to compete with Usyk, and it made him frustrated and angry, and he acted out as a result. These are the kind of things. These are the kind of things that are very telling. Antonio says he's so scared to fight on the inside since, say, whenever they got in the pocket, AJ would tie up or pull back, getting hit with shots he's not supposed to. Clarence says having Robert Garcia didn't change anything. He's a good trainer, but AJ has a problem when it comes to running out of gas. Antonio's saying that AJ hurt Usyk multiple damn times. He didn't know how to finish Usyk and was scared that Usyk would catch him with the shot between punches. Man, it was bad. When you fight quality opposition, things happen at a more rapid pace. The guys that AJ had been beating were not on that level like Usyk. The fight with Andy Ruiz, the first go round, Andy actually competed at that type of level, but was not considered a fighter at that level, which is Andy is the type of fighter that AJ was supposed to fight as he was coming up before getting a title. That would have been a great education for him, just like when Andy fought Parker. A lot of people felt like he won against Parker, and Parker got the decision, got the nod over him, but he didn't really beat Andy. You see? It's amazing. See, if he's going to retain Robert, he's going to have to go back to the drawing board. But I'm not so certain he's willing to do that. There's too much ego involved in there now. You could actually see in his post-fight behavior, he really misbehaved out there big time. And I'm not so certain that that's not happening in the gym as well. Mangus Allen says, I think he needs to go to Earl Spencer's trainer. Mike can fix him. Listen, man, why would you? Okay. For people that want to make a suggestion like that, Derek James is a very good trainer, right? Quality. He's got 2 champions in there, 1 undisputed, 1 unified, and 1 hell of a young guy that's coming on strong and Frank. But why do you want Derek James to work a miracle? Why? Why? If he really wanted to be good, he could have came and got with a guy like James or Ronnie Shields or someone like that of that ilk way before losing to take him to another level. But they're not in the business for fixing broken ceramic pieces, repairing. That's Freddie Roach's job. And I'm surprised he didn't go with Freddie Roach. But no, a trainer like Derek James, he has too much going for someone with all the issues that AJ has. Too much. Got too much going. And from what I understand, he wanted the American trainers that he went to visit. He wanted them to come over there where he is. What's wrong with you're a multimillionaire? What's wrong with packing up things and coming to America and really learning in the American pool, huh? The fighters, what they do, how they handle things. It's like all of that, the culture. He didn't want to do those kind of things. That's why I say he's already affixed into whatever he is and what he's going to remain to be and things of that nature. So it's like, you know, he just needs someone that'll work with him within that framework. And that's not a Derek James. It's not. Boxing and Barbecue says, we saw that movie before with Marcus Brown. Yep. Shamar Rashad Shalom says, salute, Sensei. Salute to you, bro. Yeah. But this is where it is, man. It's a tough thing, but I'll tell you something. Mentally, AJ is never going to be at that level where he's confident in his abilities and things like that. They're going to have to keep feeding him. And he will have another breakdown. He will. There are fighters that he'll refuse to fight because going into a match with certain individuals, he just recognizes he's not there. Remember, he made a speech at the press conference like, when I was beating all these guys that I wasn't supposed to beat. Like, what? That's how you think of things? Interesting. Antonio, just show me where is Floyd a trainer. Floyd Sr. is a trainer, not Floyd Jr. Floyd Jr. is a retired fighter who retired at the top of his game and everything, but he ain't trained. He might have little young dudes he's training in his gym or whatever, but he's not a trainer like his dad, huh? Just got a name, man. A lot of leverage and some money behind him. It's tough, man. It's tough. But this is what it is, man. This is where we are. And it doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon. But a great deal of it turning the curve will be, getting the coaches and trainers to step their games up, to be better in the sport. If those men can be better, you'll see better efforts and better results and better behavior out of their protege. Shamar Shalom says, I think he can be a trainer, though he has incredible knowledge of the game and ring. Yeah, which is why he'd be more suitable in advisory. Let the trainers do their thing. And remember, there's a lot of poor trainers, so I'm not saying that a poor trainer over him. But if I had a chance to have Floyd Mayweather in my corner as a trainer, or Derrick James in my corner as a trainer, I want Derrick James. See, sometimes when guys are great, they have a tendency to think that they can show everybody the path toward greatness. They don't even recognize and identify that they may have had special abilities. They were gifted in certain areas that other people were not, like a Michael Jordan or something like that. That didn't make him be a great coach or a great general manager or whatever, or even recognizing talent. Typically, those guys don't work out. It's usually the guys who were not the best player on the court and stuff like that. The damn what do you call it? Pat Riley's in the what's his name? The guy that used to coach the Bulls and the Lakers, Phil Jackson's. They weren't the best guys on the teams that they played on, but they were contributing factors because they had an all-round game and they were doing the dirty work and stuff like that. They understand the game from a different facet because they're closer to an everyday man than the special man. Huh? Magic Johnson was a great basketball player, but he was a horrible coach. Larry Bird, too. Clarence McLean says Phil was that dude. He sure was. And he understood the psychological aspect of things. Actually, life, right? Not so much just the sport of basketball, but life, which is why he gave the guys books to read at the beginning of the season and things of that nature. Because he found ways to get teams to come together and understand that in order to work like a well-oiled machine, you have to trust your teammate. Phil learned how to do that and link people up. It makes a difference. Yeah, Clarence, Isaiah was horrible. Yeah, a lot of the great players were not great coaches. A lot of the great coaches were guys who were not the best on their teams. Look it up. Football, basketball. Yeah. Absolutely. But yeah, man, we only had an hour to work with for this evening's show, but I just thought I would come out here and, still bring you some content because, Drew and I were supposed to do Nerds on Culture. So we'll bump that to another time. But just thought I'd come out here and share my thoughts on the mental game being under attack in boxing. It is what it is. But we have to recognize in our society. It's not just in boxing, but across the platform and in life. Things, need to be addressed, But I'm going to get on out of here, let you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a great week. And we'll catch you guys on the next one, man. It's like time flies. But shout out to the mighty LDBC. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace. Everyone remain safe.